And welcome back to the Factor Uncensored. Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg says her office seized an inmate's commissary account that had more than, get this, $30,000 in it, which has never happened in the history of the DA's office. She says evidence showed 35-year-old inmate Joshua Owens received the funds through drug dealing inside and possibly outside the Harris County Jail. She stopped by Fox 26 today to tell us about the ongoing investigation and how it's possibly linked to a long list of fentanyl deaths in the Harris County Jail. So, District Attorney Ogg, when you took a look at what was going on in the Harris County Jail, were you surprised, especially with an inmate having a commissary account with $30,000 in it?
You know, Isaiah, we've known that drugs have been being smuggled into the jail and sold by inmates inside the jail. They do that with the help of both detention officers at times and third parties outside the jail. The commissary in this case was used by Owens to launder drug sale money. So sells drugs in the jail, a third party has his friend pay the seller's friend deposits it right back into the commissary. I've never seen a commissary with a balance of $30,000 or close to $30,000, especially because the most expensive item at the commissary is just a couple of bucks.
Was that the red flag that got your attention as a prosecutor in this, that this account had $30,000 in it?
The fentanyl deaths in the jail got our attention, and that's what we're trying to stop. When we learned it was tied to drug smuggling and rampant drug use within the jail, we started working with the Harris County Sheriff's Department investigators to ferret out who the drug dealers inside the jail were. When this defendant's name came up and his commissary was looked at.
And that's Joshua Owens.
That's Joshua Owens.
Okay.
It did draw our attention to it because it's such a high number. Never seen that kind of money in a commissary before.
Now, many people are thinking, how could drugs get into the jail? And obviously, you know, for years that's happened. But now we're talking about drug-laced papers.
Yes. It's not a sophisticated scheme, but it's somewhat new. Legal papers and regular white blank paper, like stationery, can be laced with drugs by spraying it. The spray is generally a Chinese chemical. They turn it into K2 or Kush, but fentanyl has also been found on these papers and can cause death. And of course, Kush can cause people to act all kinds of crazy ways. So it's a danger to the inmates, it's a danger to the detention officers and the deputies who work in the jail. But the most offensive thing to the public is that this was an organized crime ring being run inside the jail.
By Joshua Owens, according to you guys, and the investigation. Now, were the drugs only in jail, or were they also sold outside of the jail?
Well, these cases focus on the sales inside the jail. And obviously they're being sold outside because we see so many fentanyl deaths and so many Kush assaults, etc. But the drugs are being manufactured outside the jail, sprayed onto the legal papers or stationery, smuggled in by a variety of people. No smugglers are charged in this case. Owens and his relatives are charged with getting the money, receiving the money, and laundering the money for his drug sales in this case. But they come into the jail through, we've charged a lawyer before, we've charged a detention officer before, and I think you'll probably not be surprised to know this is an ongoing investigation. These are individual organized crime cells within the jail complex.
When we take a look at Owens and his role in this, he would be considered obviously the mastermind, the man behind all of this. And then when we look at the commissary system in the Harris County Jail, the limit is a $200 deposit, but there's a way around that.
Yep, unfortunately, there's a big loophole. It turns out that anybody can go to a kiosk in Walmart or other similar venues and deposit any amount of money they want to into an inmate's commissary account. So instead of the intended $200 limit there's no limit. And if you left that amount of cash in a regular bank account, it would draw the attention of authorities, the IRS, et cetera, when it's coming in cash. But in the commissary, it's not apparently being reviewed. So when we saw the amount of money coming into the commissary, that was obviously, as we've talked about, a red flag.
And do you, at this point, tell the sheriff and the jail it's time for a review? You need to clamp it down. If we have to come in here again, we're going to have to kick some ass.
We don't, I don't tell other electeds what their policies should be, but we've recommended an instant cap, a closing of the loophole for any amount that can be deposited. And of course, we're going after Owens and his cohorts, but they're just one of various groups operating within the jail and endangering everybody. And I think these are the kinds of things we see in other countries and want to avoid. So our Harris County Jail should not and cannot be a place where crime is being run out of, especially when it can cause the death of inmates or injuries to others.
All right. District Attorney Kim Ogg, thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored tonight.
Thanks, Isaiah.